It's President's Day, folks, and we're talking politics. Yeah, Brooklyn verse talking politics, but we're taking a sports flavor to it, so we're talking sports players and politics. So please like, subscribe, and share these videos, and let's get the debate going.
Go Bridgeside!
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to an edition of Brooklyn Versus. My name is Dr. Phil. I'm your host for today. I got to my left Rich Hahn.
Hey.
And I got to his left, we got one of the you might not, Mr. Bridgeside gets the spotlight, deservingly so.
But
we have another Mr. Foundation. We were throwing around nicknames, we don't know, but Billy Bricks, there was a lot of nicknames going on, but
we're gonna find out.
Lay the foundation of Bridgeside. So guys, this is Bill Liatzis, the silent partner, not silent anymore. But also, we want to give a shout out. Mentioned Mr. Bridgeside. It's his birthday today. I know it's President's Day. We're talking President's Day. But we want to wish a very happy birthday to Paul, Mr. Bridgeside out there. Happy birthday, man.
Happy birthday, man.
We're all here because of him, so we give a shout out back to him. Thanks for having us here. But anyway, I mentioned President's Day in there a little bit as well. So there happens to be a lot of athletes that turn into politicians, and some politicians who have a history of athletic experience or sporting as well. So we want to mention, talk about them, see maybe there's a correlation between the two. So first we're going to start with athletic players or players that really gained their fame through sport that eventually turned it into politics. I was in a little pre-production research, we were talking, and I was reading that from 1960 to 2014, there was always a former athlete as a member of Congress. That's over 55 years. And then just this year, another former athlete got elected into Congress. Guys I never even heard of. So you remember Anthony Gonzalez, the wide receiver of the Colts, catching touchdowns from Peyton Manning. I believe he got a couple of neck injuries, flamed out kind of quickly. Well, I thought he flamed out. He's the congressman of Ohio now. He just won an election.
I thought it was going to be like the next big thing.
He looked great. It was Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, and Anthony Gonzalez. And then now he's a congressman. So it really comes. We'll kick it off with a tri-state flavor as we were talking about Bill Bradley.
Love it. The great Bill Bradley.
Yeah, he was a New York Knick.
That's right. He was a New York Knick for about 10 years. I think he was, he wasn't quite an all-star for the team, but he was an important rotation.
He was a Hall of Famer, though.
He was a Hall of Famer.
He's a Hall of Famer, yeah.
That's amazing. But it takes a lot to be one of the top guys for the Knicks during an era where they won 2 championships. We're all very familiar as to the old Knicks from back in the day.
I think that might be Bill Bradley's crowning achievement. He was a New Jersey Senator for 18 years. But he was on the New York Knicks 2 championship team.
Oh, it's been too long.
I mean, it seems like he should have been playing in the 1800s. We were talking about the Knicks winning championships. But then he transitioned to he was a Hall of Fame basketball player, and he was part of the rotation. And then he transitioned to a lengthy career in politics.
Oh yeah,
talk about lengthy. Years? Yeah, 18 years as a senator for New Jersey.
Yeah. And he was a Princeton grad that all rolled into that also,
exactly.
right?
He was a Princeton grad. That's where he got his footing in New Jersey, in the tri-state area. He went to Princeton, then got drafted by the Knicks, so he just kind of stayed in the area.
It's a great place to live. New Jersey gets hated on.
That's right. A New Jersey native, Rich Hahn.
It's a great state to raise a family.
Be proud of it.
That's New Jersey's commercial. New Jersey.
Raise a family here.
Says Rich Hahn. There we go.
That's right.
That's right. You came from, you immigrated from South Korea,
Yeah, South Korea.
And you went right to New Jersey.
Yep, landed right there, came off a boat. No.
Wait, where am I? But anyway, we can get off New Jersey. We had a little, I was wondering, I wanted to leave it up to you guys, see what you thought, is there a correlation between maybe becoming whether it be a famous athlete or just an athlete in general, playing on a team, and then kind of transitioning into the whole government or politicians aspect of it?
I think so, because, when you play sports, you got to take leadership and, having an influence on other players as a team member, and I think that teaches you a lot about, how to guide a group of people and being an influence on other people.
You're living in the spotlight every day too, right? So you're always on camera, you always have to be mindful of the things that you're saying. So you get to be a leader, you get to be a leading personality, but then also you get the grooming to know how to deal with the media, which is such an important part of everything you do as a politician.
Honestly, that's a very, very good point. I was also going to think also working as a team, a cohesive unit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you're a politician, you are working with just a lot of other different people
In very intense situations.
Exactly, with different views. Also pressure situations, different pressure.
Yep.
But when you're in a sporting event, that is high pressure, and politicians have, different kind of pressure, different scenarios, but still pressure in your occupation.
Yeah.
So, and I think all that comes in, but also what Bill said was that it kind of also gives you that like celebrity. Like just to have a quick list of names, like Kevin Johnson was a player, point guard for the Phoenix Suns, reached the NBA Finals, became the mayor of Sacramento. Jack Kemp was a quarterback for the Buffalo Bills in the 60s. Then when he was a congressman for a very long time, he was even a vice president nominee with Bob Dole. They were unsuccessful in their bid. I was looking up Dave Bing, was a player for Detroit. So why I want to get into this one specifically, was a player for the Detroit Pistons, popular, and then became mayor of Detroit.
Yep.
So what I was saying, I wonder if...
Did he win any championships during the time?
I'm not sure. I think it was before the Bad Boys era.
Gotcha.
But do you think having that celebrity, especially in that area that you play, does it give you like a jump start if you want to run for office in that area?
Oh, 100%.
It's hard to disagree with that. I mean, unless if you were notorious for any kind of reason, right? Which could backfire significantly. If you were just the good guy of the community where you're set up to be so, it's a natural path to go down.
And people love hometown heroes. Like, maybe you didn't win championships, but you're a player that gave it all and just like be a huge fan favorite.
Exactly.
And all you have to do is just like, hey, I'm running, and like now you still have your fans voting for him, without the political side aside.
Yeah, we mentioned Bill Bradley, and we looked it up. He's from Missouri.
Right.
He grew up in Missouri, then moved to New Jersey, and went to Princeton, and then played for New York, so stayed in the tri-state area. And then, it's not like he went back to his hometown to become a politician. He stayed, I guess, his adopted hometown became his hometown. But he had the popularity from what, like you were saying. We even have wrestlers getting into the fray of politicians.
We cover everything.
Jesse the Body Ventura went from wearing those, you remember, I don't know if you guys, he had the sunglasses, he had those floral, I forget what the exact term, the ones that you wear around your neck. That have like the puff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Hawaiian leg.
No, not the Hawaii. Like the really showman, like the puffy feathers that go around.
A boa?
Maybe a boa. I think it's. Is that a snake?
I don't know.
Anyway, the guy was a professional wrestler, and he became the governor of Minnesota. That's a very high-ranking office. So, and then just recently, we know him as Kane, as Undertaker's half-brother.
That blows my mind.
He became the mayor.
But you don't know his face, though. Well, Kane eventually took his mask off. That's
I don't know what he
looks like still.
Glenn Jacobs is his name.
Glenn Jacobs.
Yeah, but that is a very good point. We're talking about a guy that primarily is known for wearing a mask.
Yep.
And now he's the face of a city in
He doesn't wear the mask on the campaign, I imagine.
He does not. No, he does not.
The story behind was that like Kane suffered from the burn, and then that's why his costume's all red and black, and he's like rise from the fire.
What was funny is that I saw they interviewed him after he won, and the interviewer had to like step on 2 boxes because he is legitimately like 7 foot. So the guy's interviewing him, and they just zoomed on the camera, and then when you zoom out, he's standing on 2 boxes to get up to.
Holy moly!
But so as some of these guys, being an athlete shaped their career, and then they went into the political career, it also went the other way. Sometimes you have guys that are well known for their political career or being a politician who have a history in sports. So, we were mentioning before a little known one, maybe not little known, but George W. Bush, the most recent Bush president.
Right.
43.
Not just the owner of the Rangers.
He was the owner of the Texas Rangers.
Some little thing like that.
Yeah.
But his career in sports arguably goes back beyond that also, depending on how you feel about it. He was also a cheerleader.
He was right in there.
For Yale.
Was there in sports. He was there in sports. So he was a cheerleader for Yale. They say he loved baseball. I was reading, but he was never really good at it. He was the first
Yeah.
one to say. So him being a cheerleader kind of fits into that. He loved the sports, but he wasn't really that good at it. Then he became the owner of the Texas Rangers.
Yep.
It's actually funny. In one of his autobiography and memoirs along the lines, he says that his quote was that when I was a kid, I didn't want to be the president of the United States. He goes, honestly, I wanted to be Willie Mays. So he loved baseball as a kid. He loved Willie Mays. Obviously, he says that Willie Mays is one of his heroes, and and his father played baseball for Yale
Right.
collegiately. They made the College World Series. So-
Pitcher?
I believe so. I believe
apparently,
so.
and yes, he was a nasty pitcher. Apparently,
See, there you go. Rich has some inside information.
Yeah.
I
Pulling
mean,
it out, Rich. Jeez.
his sources, I believe Tim Kirchin covered that College World Series, and he's got the stats for it. But
back in the day.
So the Bush family, even you saw it with President Obama, who was also a huge sports fan. He might
Yeah.
not have had as, whether he played collegiately or anything, but he was a huge sports fan, very knowledgeable. I remember he used to fill out the brackets, the Final Four brackets.
Yep.
He actually did pretty well at them. So it's nice to see. You see that a lot of these, well, we're going with presidents right now, but they have love of the sports. We even met Gerald Ford was, even back in the day, I believe it was like the 1930s. He was a Michigan football player, and his team won the national championship, and they were undefeated.
And I think Eisenhower played at West Point. But this
Yeah,
is back in like the early days of football, like when
Yeah.
it was like a borderline sport or
Exactly.
just as a
Like, no
brawl.
helmets.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, it's funny. You were saying that maybe Eisenhower or Ford, in the 30s, the NFL didn't really have as much traction. If it was now, maybe he would never been president. These guys would never been president. They
The
would have,
celebrity of the job, I mean, it's one of
exactly.
the-
They would have made it to the NFL. So
which is interesting to think. I mean, these guys now versus 30 years ago, the amount these guys are making in these positions, you can imagine them going into politics in a whole different way than they ever have before, too.
well, yeah,
and it costs money to go into politics.
It does cost some money.
and I think that's another. You mentioned that, and I think that's another boost to being an athlete and then turning into that political career. We talked about some of the advantages, being a celebrity, having to lead, having to work together as a team. But let's also talk about the financial. If you're a famous athlete, you've probably made a good amount of money, and then that gives you a head start on the campaign trail because you just said it costs money to be a politician. So these guys have
You don't need
money.
to take so much donations from other donors.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys mentioned money, and for back in the day, I know it was Babe Ruth when he was playing. Obviously they weren't making these crazy amounts, but he made $5,000 more than President Hoover at the time, and because he was Babe Ruth, so they asked him. They said, "Do you think you should be making $5,000 more than the president?" He said, "Yeah, I had a better year than him." That's like a classic Babe Ruth line.
Man.
But yeah, that's where that's where sports was. Now, I mean, the guys make way more money than president or anybody. Bryce Harper is going to be making more
my
money
gosh.
than all these guys, all politicians.
Still waiting on that one.
Yeah.
Still waiting on that one.
But, we talk about sports, we talk about politics, and then sports also, it really does bring people together. It brings, even in the political field, you have people voting for people they know because of sports, but also sports also has like I would definitely say it has like a healing power sometimes, and sometimes the political world or just the outsider world can be a little ugly, be it some tragedies, and a lot of times sports can help with that. And our most recent, we were all alive for it, we all know it's 9/11. And, during, the unspeakable tragedy of 9/11, you had sports, it took a little pause, but then sports came on after that. And I think sports has this really nice way of giving us a little bit of distraction, but not only at a distraction at the same time of bringing everyone together to give us one rooting interest.
Yeah.
I know, Rich, you mentioned
The Mets,
Piazza.
the first Mets game. I remember at home watching that, and
That was the first sporting event in New York.
Yeah,
after.
and it's late in the game. My dad's passed out, and then no joke, it was the one time I thought I gave my dad a heart attack. I just screamed and cheered as soon as Mike Piazza hit that home run. My dad's like, "What happened? What happened?" And I was like, "Mets what? Mets?"
Yeah.
And it was that slight moment that really, at that moment you didn't forget, but
But yeah, it gave you something to cheer.
Right. It was
reason
exactly
to be happy, even if it was for a split.
a reason
even
to
for a
cheer, to
split
be
second.
happy.
Look, the Yankees are the evil empire,
Yep.
right? I love the Yankees.
But at that time,
Everyone finally was rooting for the Yankees, right? But not to make light of the situation, but yes,
Right.
everyone came together and was rooting. You had a team from New York going on this amazing run.
And you finally had a chance to, like, after the difficulty of those days, to just get back to normalcy, right? To get back to what you had been doing day to day, to have a chance to not think about the big stuff that was happening and have a chance to actually relax. Without the sports, what would we have had?
Yeah, and it's not us, but even tragedies way back echoed that same exact sentiment. You know, in pre-production, I was looking up some stuff, and it was talking about FDR in World War II. And in 1941, you know, Pearl Harbor was bombed, and America declared that they would be entering World War II.
Yep.
And in January of the next year, because it was December, so baseball wasn't going on, but in January of next year, the commissioner wrote a letter to Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who was the president at the time, and asked if he thought that they should cancel the baseball season because we would be at war, or we should keep it going. And it was something that's now become known as like the green light letter. And FDR essentially said, it is up to you, and, you know, it's up to the commissioner, it's up to the owners. And he wrote back, he said, however, I personally strongly believe that baseball should go on this year because it's going to be a lot harder. This year is going to be a lot harder than a lot of previous years. And he mentioned people are going to be working longer. You know, who's going to have family members out at war, and they're going to need something. You know, at the time, he was mentioning it was an inexpensive thing to do. It's not exactly the most inexpensive thing to do anymore, but at the time, it was inexpensive to go to a game. They would only last like 2.5 hours at the time. Again, it's a little bit longer now, but at the time, it was 2.5 hours. And he was mentioning that if we could employ 7,000, 10,000 baseball players to do this, it would be able to allow 200,000 Americans to have that little bit of escape or release or something to root for. So it really does have this nice or this uplifting effect, even if it's that for a little bit of time.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's the community as a chance to come together on something that they love, and at the same time gets them away from day-to-day life. You know, they actually do this a lot, or they've done this a lot in like war-torn, post-Civil War countries too. And it ends up being, it's soccer a lot. It's not as much local to us, but so it's becoming more local to us, where soccer ends up being the sport to get the kids to cross the neighborhood boundary lines that weren't previously crossed. Yeah. And even just having a chance to play sports together gave them a chance to bring things back together again and learn and get to know their neighbors who typically would not have a chance to actually interact.
We all speak the universal language of sports, most of us.
Yeah.
But I know Rich, we mentioned soccer, and Rich had a little bit of, I guess, a story away from America. You said it might be on the home ground, but also a story of bringing a country together.
Right. At the time, I wasn't living in Korea, but I visited at the summer, and it was 2002 World Cup. Korea and Japan's co-hosting, and it was a huge deal because this was right after, like, my family escaped South Korea for IMF when the country went bankrupt, kind of like what Greece is going through right now. And you know, my dad lost his job, so we're like, let's get out of there, move to America. And we see this World Cup bringing the people together, something to cheer about, where, like, you know, people are losing, you know, people are not working or getting paid, and yet we funded this whole tournament and we brought the people together. And I've never seen, and I got to go to the consolation game. Turkey versus Korea, and Korea gave up the fastest goal ever recorded in a World Cup to Turkey. It was less than a minute, and and even after that, the stadium was loud as if we won the game, and it was just a good experience overall. And you know, when you get a lot of those people like kind of gathering together in public areas, you worry about public safety and like whatever hygiene and all that. There was not a single incident that went on, and the streets were cleaned right after. People were volunteering to help clean up, and it was just, once again, it's a bigger community. It's a whole country.
Yeah.
But once again, it's a sense of community, bringing people together.
And I think kind of the sports players rally around that too, because correct me if I'm wrong, South Korea was not a good soccer team at all, right? And you finished fourth. Like, but before that, you just made the World Cup because of the host nation always is in the World Cup.
I'm not sure, but I think that might have been the first time where an Asian country made it to the knockout stages.
There you go. You know, it's so.
Yeah.
You know, they rally around that feeling.
Right.
I think they feed off each other.
Yeah,
You know,
look at Iceland in this past World Cup too,
Oh, right.
right?
Iceland.
250,000 people.
Yeah, that's right.
A country that's smaller than it's like a tenth of
could definitely
Brooklyn.
say New York City.
Literally, it's the size of Bay Ridge, basically, right? And they managed to go into the round of 8 or the round of 16 of the World Cup. It's amazing.
Yeah, you know, we talk about rallying. You know, I think the Yankees had a little bit of that as well. You know, in
Yankees.
2001. I'm going back to the Yankees.
He's right.
Deal with it.
They had a lot of.
Do I finally have a Yankee fan?
Oh
right
yeah.
now?
Oh
I
yeah.
didn't
Come on
know
now.
that.
Yankees have a
come on
lot of
now.
those rallying moments.
Not finally, but lately it's just been Met fans. All I see, Met fans are on this. Oh, you see what they did to me?
That's-
you see
they-
what
they
did
need
to me
it.
the
They
other?
need it.
You see what they did to me with the picture,
wrong.
the announcing?
It's wrong.
They got to bring up the Red Sox. Oh, anyway, the 2001 Yankees, I think, really had that. They kind of fed off of the crowd, and
was a tough year.
It was an amazing World Series. Like, you had these comeback victories. It was tough because they ended up losing.
Yeah.
And then to jump into the politics a little bit, you had George Bush throwing out the first pitch.
Yep.
You know, which is it's a presidential tradition. They throw out the first pitch of almost all the opening days, usually in Washington, when Washington has a team. But, you know, George Bush came and they asked him to throw out. ESPN did a really nice little like mini 30 for 30 on this pitch.
I remember this one, yeah.
And they asked him to throw out the first pitch of Game 1 of the World Series, and he declined it because he said, I think it would mean more if I threw it out in New York
Yeah.
this year.
Despite the security concerns.
Exactly. So they threw out the first pitch of Game 3, which was a little odd because it was Game 3, but you had a Secret Service agent who was dressed as an ump. I don't know if anyone known that.
I did not know
While he's
that
throwing
one.
the first pitch, so there were 7 umps on the field when there should be 6 during the playoffs.
Oh, so one was
a Secret Service agent, and then he was in a Kevlar, and then the story to mix with sports, he was because we talked about how he did love sports. He was practicing underneath in the cages underneath Yankee Stadium, and he's throwing. And then Jeter comes up to him and it's like, oh, hey, Mr. President, oh, Terry Jeter, and they're talking, and then he's like, are you going to throw from the base of the mound? He's like, yeah. He goes, they might boo you if you do that. So then George Bush he said he got nervous. So he starts practicing for 60 feet, and then Jeter goes, don't bounce it either, because they'll boo you. And then he just left, and Bush was being glib about how he was so nervous, more nervous than anything, and he threw a perfect strike.
That was great.
And he threw a perfect strike. He's very happy about that, and everyone was a fan. It was a good moment. It really was a good moment, and I think sports helps do that.
Yeah, it's incredible how well it does to bring everybody back together.
Yeah.
They say it's just a game, but you know.
It's more than a game. That's why we do this. You know, that is honestly why we sit here and we talk about sports, because to us it's more than just a game, and at some points it really, really is more than just a game.
Yep.
But that's going to be our debate session of the episode. So we're going back to the President's Day theme for this next challenge. So Rich, I want to just give you a lens into Rich's trash talk. It's been going on for about an hour right now. That's all he's been talking about, how he's 2-0.
That's right, undefeated.
He's undefeated. No one can beat him. Don't even
Rich.
try.
Video game trivia.
Come on,
bring it.
Rich.
But what we had to do, we had to go get one of the co-founders of Bridgeside, and we got him here.
It's his
So
first
Rich,
time though.
It is his
It
first
might be
time.
your last.
Wow, see?
Good luck to you, sir.
If you lose, you might get the pink slip. But we're just letting you know.
High stakes. High stakes.
High stakes game. So what we're going to do is we're going to be showing pictures of presidents in their younger days, most likely in some sort of sporting event or athletic.
Are we picking these up?
Man your buzzers. Yep. So the pictures are going to show up, and you guys whoever's going to buzz in. Guys, hold on. When you buzz in, don't just blur out the answer. I have to decide who buzzed in first. So I might think Rich buzzed in first, and Bill says the answer. You just gave him the answer. So
If I say it right.
Oh.
no, but it would still be Rich. I still think Rich buzzed in first. The buzzing is part of the game. It's like Jeopardy. You might know the answer, but you got to buzz in. All right, that's a little too premature. But anyway, so I think we're going to get right into the challenge.
Let's do this.
The first president picture. Let's see. Who do we got? I think we're going to go old school for these two, by the way. I think we're going to...
I'm
I
ready.
think they're going to try to stump you.
Oh. George W. Bush.
Got the freebie.
Is it George W.? Because there are two. It is.
Oh.
Okay, I just want to make sure. There are two. There's HW too. All right.
Could have missed that face. Let's look at that face.
Yeah, come on now.
Rich is, well, all
you
this
not
trash
sure?
talk.
Were you not sure?
I'm just saying. I thought it could have been HW, but anyway. No, but I'm just saying, Rich, all this trash talk. Let's go to the second one. We'll go to the second
Had a
one.
buzzer malfunction. I'm ready now. I don't know who that is.
All right, someone's got. There are no minus points, so someone could just buzz in.
Oh.
Oh,
No one
Really?
buzzed in,
Wow.
and we got
Really?
Ronald
That
Reagan.
did not
I
look
actually
like
didn't
Ron.
know that one.
I thought it was Calvin
He's the
Coolidge.
Gipper. He played the Gipper
But
in the movie.
he's 60 years older here.
But in the movie, Win One for the Gipper.
I've not seen
You
a
ever hear
single
Win
Ronald
One for the
Reagan.
Gipper?
I've heard of it, yeah.
He was the Gipper.
I
Oh,
understand.
okay. All right. Now, you're not as excited as me. So anyway, we'll go to the next one. Rich
we
is
got?
still winning 1-0.
Oh, Barack Obama.
I'm having.
Oh, there we go.
right.
Well, I mentioned his sport playing days. There we go.
See,
and
he's got the buzzer technique.
you know,
nailed.
I don't want excuses from you.
Sorry, it's a
It's not
veteran.
an excuse. I'm congratulating him on his technique.
Sounds a little like excuse,
Yeah.
right? All right.
All right,
get to the
let's,
next
let's,
one.
bring, let's bring on the next
2-0.
question.
2-0 Rich. That's a good one, because I don't know. Who are you going to say?
That's JFK.
Oh,
John F. Kennedy.
Wow!
yeah.
Rich.
Wow.
3-0.
right.
He's getting close to clinching this.
How many questions are there?
8.
I have to get the next one.
You have to get the next 4 because no one answered the Ronald Reagan one. You guys didn't even guess.
Oh, this is terrible.
Okay.
All right, just got to go 4 for 4. Here we go.
That was Bill. Bill did buzz in first.
Eisenhower.
Oh, come on, Bill. We talked about him.
This is Gerald Ford.
It's Gerald Ford.
Rich
It's
is
Gerald
just
Ford.
rubbing it in your face now. 4-0. Wait, are there how many left? How many are left?
It's over. It's done. I mean, we can
We're
keep
gonna
going.
keep going though.
Yeah.
All right. 4-0 Rich. Wow. It's a
Hammer.
shellacking.
3 more.
3 more. All right,
3
you're
more.
done. I'll make the last one with 2 points. This is a shellacking. Let's get this next one. Gotta guess this one. I don't know. Are you gonna give me anything, guys?
I don't know.
I look at it.
Who is
I love
that?
it.
I'm trying
I
to
just
see who
want
it looked like.
I want to zoom
Here,
in
I'll just
on
say
this.
Eisenhower. I mean, but, like,
Eisenhower.
I don't
Yes,
know.
Eisenhower, your go-to.
Nixon.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is Eisenhower your go-to?
Well, I knew he was to be a president.
Yeah, there's more presidents than Eisenhower. I just want
Eventually, I'm going to be right.
we got it. I like the mutton chops. Remember?
This is-
I like the mutton chops.
Martin Van Buren.
Martin Van Buren. That is really old school right there. But I
gotta be
want to
newer than
zoom in
that.
on their face. I don't think it's Martin Van Buren.
Roosevelt.
Roosevelt. Bill's getting the guess of Roosevelt. Teddy Roosevelt.
Martin Van Buren.
Wow.
Do I get 2 for that? I got my.
That was tough. So I might give him
right.
2 for that.
All right,
It's
so-
now 4-2.
4-2.
They still have no chance.
Yeah, unless this next one's worth 3 points. I don't know. I like those mutton chops on Teddy.
Oh, Abe Lincoln.
Yeah.
Abe Lincoln was known as he was known
Wrestler.
as a wrestler. Yeah, exactly.
I joked earlier that he was a professional horseshoe
No,
player.
he
but,
was a-
I knew he was something. I
Famous
was,
wrestler.
He was known as a big
Yeah.
wrestler.
So thanks for
that's-
playing, Bill.
Yeah,
It was
Wow.
nice. It was nice while it
And Rich.
lasted, but it didn't last very long though.
No, it was over really soon. Rich.
The JFK was the take home.
Yeah, that
Once-
showed
honest-
the talent right
Yes,
there.
thank you. Once Rich got the JFK, it was like,
This
guy
face.
means
I just got to play the
business.
face game.
this guy means business.
Did you slip him notes before the show?
And you know, he's playing the face game. There was water obscuring his view as well. And he still was just like,
Easily.
And when he buzzed in, too, he buzzed in and it was this JFK. Like,
course.
come on, guys. Seriously? Like, he had the pause.
Maryland's sitting over there. You know, I know
Look,
that picture.
Right now,
I don't
all
feel
we
like this
know-
was a fair fight. I
all
feel
we
like
know is that Rich is starting to establish himself as the most dominating Brooklyn versus Challenger champion or whatever, challenge champion.
it's Babe Ruth-esque.
It is. It is. He should get paid
3-0.
more than the president, apparently, according to Babe Ruth. But Rich, maybe someone will unseat you eventually. But right now, you are
Until that day.
undefeated, sir. And that is the end of this episode with Rich Hahn sitting in the throne for undefeated yet again. So that puts a little bow on this Brooklynverse episode. But please make sure to tune in tomorrow for Leah Tash, Bridgeside Live at 9 p.m. right here, Bay Ridge, Bridgeside Studios. Another great show for you guys. And as always, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week for Brooklyn Versus. Seriously,
Rich, that's
yeah.
Trivia.
Oh, that was.